Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, New Jersey Nurse to Be. I know that it's been a couple weeks. I believe that I haven't made a video, or probably more than a month, whatever. But sorry, I got a burp. Excuse me. But I've been pretty busy, and now that I'm pregnant, it's a little bit hard on me. I'm more tired, so I haven't had the energy nor the motivation to make more videos and stuff. This pregnancy has definitely been very different than the last two that I had and stuff, and it's uh, become more of a struggle to keep myself energized and upbeat with everything that I'm doing and stuff like that. So let's jump right into it like I do every video. So next month, I will be 1 year with my company. I will be 1 year officially as a nurse, as an LPN and stuff like that. And I am so happy to say that I continue to learn things every day. Believe it or not, every day. I still go through those days where I'm nervous to do things, but I will say to you, and this is one of the advices that I will give to any nurse, is every time somebody who is mentoring you and you know that they're coming from a good space or from a good place, they tell you, hey, you want to try this, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're mentoring you, because even if you're nervous, get your nerves out, ask as many questions. I've always been like that, even through nursing clinicals in class and stuff like that. If I didn't understand something, I didn't care what people said about me. I'm gonna ask the question and stuff like that. And like I said, I've noticed that with me, that I'm still like that. And sometimes I am a little scared and stuff. But after I ask those questions and I look at my mentor and see how she is and stuff, I think about, always think about the future. Like, wow, a couple years from now, I'm going to be as experienced as her, and I'm going to be as confident as her, and imagine the things that I will be able to do. You know what I'm saying? That I'm a dreamer. I always think about the future. I always think ahead and stuff like that. And I think that's what keeps it's not, I know that's what keeps me going. And that is one of the reasons why I want to continue my nursing journey and stuff like that. So, let's talk about what happened today on why I said I was nervous on some things. So one thing is I'm hanging IVs and stuff more. We don't get a lot of IVs on my floor. Sometimes like one or two a month. But some patients are like my last patient. He was on this IV for 42 days because he had an infection to the knee, and he had to get this one IV up every day, and I was the one giving him the medication and flushing and everything. So I got a good routine with flushing the PIC line and stuff like that. And so I'm sorry, he had a midline to his right arm and stuff. So then today, my nursing manager, she had a patient on her side. She was on the cart today because we didn't have a nurse for that cart. So she jumped in the car and she said, hey, she knows that I'm learning and stuff. She was like, hey, you want to put up this IV? And I was like, yeah. And so I asked her, why is this IV for? And it was vancomycin and stuff. Vancomycin is to treat infections and stuff. When we put a patient on vancomycin, they are monitoring the therapeutic levels of this patient's medication and stuff like that. So usually what they do weekly blood labs on this patient, because I don't know if you guys learned this in nursing school, and if you guys haven't, you guys will be learning this, but valproic acid affects your kidneys and stuff like that. So usually they're looking at the kidney function and all that of the patient and stuff. So yeah, so this patient she's on vancomycin. She has a midline to her right upper arm and stuff like that. So I went to hang the IV. I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I remember connecting the IV medication to the bag, but I connected to the wrong tubing. And how do I know that I connected to the wrong tubing? Well, the first thing that started happening was that the medication started leaking from the IV bag. And I'm like, why is it leaking? Oh my God. Like, what am I doing? Because I was like, I don't know what's going on. Because usually you have a color tubing and then you have a non-color tubing on this bag. And it was sodium chloride, I believe, that I was hanging up. I believe. I got to check my order. I got to check that order. I just know it was something with sodium. And I connected the IV tubing to the blue connector. and that was not the IV tubing. I'm so sorry. I connected the antibiotic bottle to the blue tubing, okay, from the IV bag. And so when I connected it, started leaking. I went to my manager, and my manager said, you have the medication, the antibiotic, you connected it to the wrong tubing. You have to connect it to the clear tubing. That's why it's leaking. But she didn't yell at me. She said, it's okay. It's a learning experience. So what I did, I disconnected it, put it into the clear tubing of the IV bag, and then connected my tubing into the blue port and stuff like that. And then it stopped leaking. And of course, you write down the date, your name, your initial. If you don't have like what you're hanging on that tubing, you have to write on a piece on a tape your name, your date, the date you're hanging, the time you're hanging the tubing, and what is it that you're hanging for the next nurse to know and stuff like that. So that's what I did. So I hung the tubing, I connected it to the pump, whatever, and I ran my pump. And then I walked away and I told her and stuff like that. But I didn't feel confident. And I told her I didn't feel confident with inputting the numbers because it said 250 mLs. And she said run it over 2 hours and stuff. And I'm not really good with the putting in the minutes and stuff like that. And I really need more training in that. And I'm okay to say that. Like, I need training in that. Like, I'm not an expert. And I only done it a couple times. So my manager was like, don't worry, I'm going to go look at it because we were busy on the floor and I had to jump back on my cart. So when she went to go look at it, she came to me and she said, did you flush the midline? And I said, yeah. And she said, what do you flushed it with? And I said, I flushed it with normal saline. Always remember when you're using an IV, you're going to use the word NASH. Okay, you're going to use the acronym. Acronym, well, you know me in pronouncing words. NASH means N stands for normal saline. So you're going to flush with normal saline. That's the N. The A is your antibiotic. That's when you're going to hang your antibiotic and connect it to the IV line. After the antibiotic is over, you're going to disconnect, right? So we're NAS, saline again. And then the last thing is heparin. So H is for heparin. You're going to patent it with heparin. So I always remember those acronym, whatever you call that. Always remember that when you're hanging an IV. That's the steps to flush an IV line. You don't need to do that for a peripheral line, but you need to do that for a PIC or midline. And always, before you flush, try to see if the patient has any allergies. You know, it could be heparin, saline. You never know. Just look to see if they have any allergies. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, she said, did you flush? And I said, yeah. She said, well, what? I said, normal saline. She said, did you pull back for blood return? And I said, no, I just flushed. She said, that's the problem. There was an occlusion to the pump. So the pump will beep. It'll be like beep, beep, beep. And on the pump, it'll say occlusion, right? Which means blockage. And it can be that there's bubbles in your tubing. It can also be that you didn't unclamp your tubing. Or it can be that if you're connected it to a PIC line, a midline, you didn't pull back for blood return. Same thing with the PIC line. You didn't pull back for blood return and stuff like that. So she was like, that's okay. You're learning. So she walked with me and we did the blood return. We flushed it again with normal saline and then we connected it to the IV and we were all good and stuff like that. And she was happy. She was just happy that I was honest. And what she liked about it is that I was down to do it. You know, I asked questions. I didn't harm my patient in any way. You know, if I didn't feel as confident to do it and I didn't know what I was doing all the way, I would not put the patient on harm's way. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was nervous about a little bit because I was like, wow, I know I'm not doing this all the way correctly, but it's okay for me to just ask and find out, you know? So that's what happened. Besides that, I wanted to I know I always try to share some good news with you guys in every video. And one of my good news is when I first started at this long-term facility, I was in the long-term floor. And that was a blessing. And I've heard from a lot of nurses who've been nursing for so many years, they say it's good and it's also bad to be on a long-term floor I was on the long-term floor for 8 months. And they say the good thing about it is that a lot of new nurses, they don't get a long orientation. That's one. I got 11 days of orientation. Another, I think 11 or 9 days, I don't remember. A lot of nurses don't even get that. They probably get like 3 days of orientation into a nursing home as a new nurse. Sometimes you have to push to get more days, and technically they have to at least give you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the policy stands for. But in my company, it's like loops and turns with them, whatever. So I got 11 days, whatever, orientation in the beginning. And so then they put me on the long-term floor, which is a good thing, nurses say, because it's like, it's the same, those patients are on the same medications. There's not a lot of changes to those patients. Those patients are stable. That's why it's called long-term. Remember, these patients, this is their home. So it's like you giving your grandparents medication every day. He's stable. He's going to seeing the doctor every 3 months, or, she's seeing her specialist, but she's still on the same sugar medication, high blood pressure medication. Everything is the same. Nothing really changes, but basically on a every 3 months basis. So that's how it was for the long term. The only problem with that is that you don't learn as much. Okay, so let me get to the good news, and then I'll go back why. So after being there for eight to 9 months, they decided to one day say, "Hey Blanca, we're gonna throw you on the next card, which is half subacute and half long term." So at the time when I was pushed to that cart, which was a month ago, we were still having COVID patients and stuff like that. So that cart was very heavy. So I had 15 subacute patients and 10 long-term patients. So in total of 25, okay? You might be thinking like, okay, 25, but Blanca, you were dealing with 25 patients in long-term. Yeah, I was. The difference is when you deal with patients that are subacute, these are patients who are coming back from a hospital. These are coming due to a hospital or another nursing home and stuff with critical care and stuff like that. These patients are either on IVs or on some type of ABT. They have wound treatments. Most of them are learn oriented or know what's going on. They're more demanding and stuff like that. They're getting labs every couple days and stuff like that. Doctors are coming to see them. Specialists are coming to see them. So this is something that they're on a daily basis. Things changes with them. So imagine you have 15 patients who are subacute and you're dealing with all of that, plus your 10 long-term patients who are stable and stuff like that. So I had that for 2 weeks, and I was stressing because when they threw me on this cart, for a couple of reasons. One is because at one point they said, when they moved me, they were like, "Blanca, you can give your medications with your eyes closed and your floor." Like, I knew my patients' medications. I knew how they were. I knew their mood. I knew what they like. I knew how they like things. That's how in and out I knew my patients in long-term floor. And I had a really good relationship with my patients. It got to the point that most of my patients who were basically have dementia or confused and all that, they knew who I was. So let's say let's say on my day off, I was off, and another nurse came to like cover for me. They'll be like, "Where's my nurse Blanca?" And the staff were like, "Wait, these are patients with dementia," but because they were so used to seeing the same face every day and seeing the same routine, they started getting used to me, and we built a relationship. So now the management was like, "Okay, we need to change her. She's getting better. Let's throw her somewhere where we're not throwing her fully on subacute, but at least she's getting a taste of subacute a little bit," right? So when they threw me on that cart, another reason why they threw me there is because the cart nurse was very unorganized. It was getting very stressful for her, and she's older in age, and she couldn't handle it. And my cart on long term was organized. Everything was in place. My notes were getting done. Everything was getting done on time and stuff like that. So they were like, "Okay, let's put this nurse on your cart. Let's just switch you guys and see how we do." Can I tell y'all something? The nurse who they put on my cart and I took her cart, she's an RN of many years. So for me, it was like, wow, like, are you kidding me? Like, I was kind of like nervous because I'm like, I have big shoes to fulfill because this is an RN and this is an RN for many years, and now I have to go to her cart. And so I was a little intimidated because I'm like, I'm just an LPN. Not saying nothing bad about LPNs. It's just saying the scope of practice is different on some of the things that we do and stuff like that. you know? So when I was put there, I was like nervous, and the person who pushed for me to be put on that cart was my manager. I didn't know that until one meeting, and she came to me and she said, I requested for you to be put on this cart because I see more potential with you and I see that you can do things. Who cares about you being an LPN? You're doing things as in, like, if you were an RN. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, I want to push you to do more. And the first 2 weeks was stressful, very stressful. And I remember her pulling me to the side, and I wasn't finishing my meds and my treatments to close to my time to go home. So, and she knew I wasn't like that. So she pulled me to the side and she said, Are you okay? Do you need me to pull you back to your cart? And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is stressful. Stressful. I'm on my feet out the whole time. I wasn't taking breaks the first couple days. It was a lot to get used to. And she said, Do you want me to pull you out? And I said, No, I'm going to continue to do it. And she said, I know you can do it. And you're going to have this cart the way you had the long-term cart. And guess what? It's been a month and a half, and that cart is starting to look like my old cart. Organized. I have everything down packed. Some of my subacute patients are getting discharged. We're getting discharged and stuff like that. Some of them are getting pushed to the straight up rehab floor because we have a straight up subacute floor. My floor is half subacute and half long term. But they took some of my subacute patients and put them in the rehab section now, because now we no longer have COVID patients. So now we have a regular subacute floor. So it's taking the stress out of off my plate, and it has helped me manage even more. And it has helped me even learn the ins and outs of subacute for me. So when I get more patients, even when I get a new admission, I know what I'm looking for. I'm not 100% sure on everything that I need, but I'm getting there, and I'm getting there with practice. So I wanted to let you guys know that it's a blessing for me, because yeah, I was on a long-term floor for 8 months. Some people that I know as new nurses start floating from cart to cart to cart to cart to cart, and they're exposed to more, but they're not used to a routine. I am used to a routine, you know what I'm saying? And I like that because I'm able to manage more. And no, I haven't been exposed to so much, but I'm being exposed at the right time to things here and there and stuff like that. So I wanted to share that with you guys and stuff, that hopefully if you guys have, um, you know, they present that to you in a long-term facility, definitely go for it, because as a new nurse being thrown to a new cart and you're thrown on a subacute floor, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard at first and you're going to hate it. I say go with the easy way out, which is long term. And at first I wasn't happy about it. I remember doing videos and I was in it for 3 months in long term, and I was requesting to go with subacute. And I'm not going to lie, management was like, no, we're not ready to put you on subacute. And I'm like, why? Like, I would go home and I would think to myself, am I not good enough to be put on subacute? But now I know that I wasn't ready. You know, now I am ready. I'm not 100%. I'm still dusty. Remember, I still consider myself new, you know? And I'm okay with to say that. But yeah, that's that. So I am on a subacute slash long-term floor, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm succeeding. I'm getting everything done. And I'm learning as we go and stuff like that. With pregnancy, it's been a little bit hard. I can't bend down. My belly's getting bigger. I'm 5 months pregnant now. And everyone asks me, when are you going on maternity leave? You know, they're worried for me and stuff like that. Not because they see that I'm struggling. I'm still doing what I was doing before pre-pregnancy. I move as quick as possible. I'm doing my treatment. My aides are stepping it up because I'm pregnant and they're helping so much. And remember what I said, always have that good relationship with your aides, right? Because those are going to be the ones who are going to look you out when it comes to skin breakdown or anything happening with your patients. But don't let your aide sleep on you too. If you have to put your aide in their place, please do that in a professional way. And I have done that. And my aides respect me so much, you know. They're older than me, all of them. But they respect me and they treat me very nice. And when I say to do something, which I say in a respectful and nice way, they go ahead and do it the right way. It's gotten to the point that on my floor, they're saying, management saying that you have the best aides from 7 to 3 because of the nurses on that floor, and one of those nurses is Blanca. Because when I first came to the facility, the aides were horrible. There was no discipline, there was no structure, there was no communication with the aides. It was like, do this and don't talk back. But when I came there, it was like I presented something of teamwork. And I said, I'm going to treat you with respect, but I'm going to need that in return. And although I'm young and I'm coming to give you orders, just know that we're working together. I'm not trying to work against you. And it's been like that since day one. And I have broken a lot of um, negativity on my floor, and it has been a really good floor to work on. And I have gotten a lot of props from a lot of people above me to say, you've done a change in here. And we know that when the day you leave on maternity leave, we're going to feel lit to know that you're not here for those months that you're not here, you know? But that's what you have to do as a nurse. I'll always say, this is my slogan, make a difference as a nurse. That's always going to be my slogan all the way around and stuff like that. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to eventually become a leader. I consider myself a leader, but I'm still climbing up that ladder and stuff like that. Yeah, and I want to end it with something else. I'm almost done with this video. I also, you guys know that I'm looking into the RN school, and due to me getting pregnant, I wasn't able to do RN this year. The good thing is that I am starting community college back up in September online. I still have 3 prerequisites to do before I start my nursing program, and I am taking anatomy and physiology 1 and microbiology in September. Already signed up for the classes online, and then if God's willing, I want to take AMP2 in January. But let's see how I do this semester while being pregnant. I'll definitely keep you guys updated, but always keep in mind, if you want to do something, you have to push forward. And even though there might be some obstacles that might be thrown in your way, just continue to go for your dreams and stuff like that. I take the advantage of being married and having a husband who helps me a whole lot and stuff like that. And although we are going to struggle maybe a little bit due to me going back to school and not working as much, I know that he has my back and he's able to help me financially and mentally, and also be there for the kids and stuff like that. So always take the advantage. If you have that extra help, go back to school, finish school. Who cares what age you are and stuff like that. I told my husband I'm more than halfway done with my first degree, which is my first degree to become an RN, and I want to do it. And I'm not just stopping here. I'm going to continue to climb that ladder. And I encourage you guys to do the same, you know? Again, don't forget to subscribe to this video, comment and like below. Thank you so much for all the love you guys have been showing. I really love to hear your stories and your journey as a nursing student or as a nurse itself, you know. If you guys have any encouragement or any ideas or anything, please post it on my webpage and stuff like that. Again, thank you so much. Stay blessed, stay safe, keep your distance, keep your mask on. Goodbye.